Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story from an Italian pastry and sandwich shop where a regular customer known for her demands bites off more than she can chew. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. No sauce and 3 pieces of bread? No prob. This happened quite a few years back when I was working at this Italian pastry and sandwich shop. While in college, I got a job working for said shop. In addition to serving pastries and sandwiches on house-baked bread, we also have a hot food section served by weight that's behind a glass display. There's also sit-down service during peak hours that would get very busy and orders would be flying out left and right. My coworker and I had just gone through the usual hectic rush with no help from our section manager, whole other story there, and we were of course getting tired and annoyed. We were tidying up our stations when in comes a regular who's usually a handful, demanding, jittery, and rude. She was what we call a nervous Nellie. Nellie comes up to the display case, already huffing and puffing. "Is anyone going to take my order?" Coworker: "Hey Nellie, if you take a seat, one of the waitresses can take your order." Nellie: "No, they're terrible at taking orders and they're slow." The dish would ultimately still have to be brought out by a waitress anyway, and the waitresses were always on point. Coworker: "Okay, fine, what would you like?" Nellie scans the display case. "I want the chicken parm." Coworker: "Sure." Grabs 2 pieces of chicken parm. "I'll put some sauce on that for you too." Nellie: "No, don't do that. Everything's by the pound, and you're going to charge me an arm and a leg for sauce. No sauce." Coworker: "Are you sure? 'Cause it's getting a little dry. You could probably use a little." Nellie: "I said no sauce. Are you deaf?" Coworker: "All right." Coworker looks at me, and I look back at him, and I can tell he's got something in mind to mess with her. Coworker goes to the corner of the tray and grabs the pieces that have been drying out and getting a little crusty and puts it on a plate with no sauce. Biting into one of these usually feels like you're biting into cardboard. I should also note, while things do come by the pound, we would never weigh it with the sauce, but oh well. Nellie: "Also, I want some bread. 3 pieces should be fine." Same request every time, 3 pieces of bread. Coworker looks back at me this time, and I gesture that I'll take care of it. Normally, we give bread with all the hot food orders. I'd say typically the piece would be about the size of a pack of cigarettes, and we slice it a few times. For this particular instance, I found the biggest piece of bread lying around and sliced it into 3 pieces for her. The piece I chose to cut into 3 was about the size of a liter of soda. I place it into the basket and serve it up alongside the plate of dried out chicken parm. The waitress then comes over, takes a look at the food, and looks at us. Waitress: "Really? This?" Me: "Yep, it's what she specifically requested for." The food gets to her table. Coworker and I are just watching and waiting to see what her reaction is. She cuts a piece of the chicken parm, takes 1 bite and spits it back out and turns to coworker and I. "Nellie, why is this so dry?" Coworker: "Well, you said you wanted the chicken parm with no sauce. I offered to put sauce on it, but you said you didn't want that." Nellie: "Well, this is just horrible. It's dry as hell. How am I supposed to eat this? And why did you give me so much bread? What am I supposed to dip this into? There's no sauce." Me: "What do you mean so much bread? You asked for 3 pieces of bread, I gave you 3 pieces. Also, you said no sauce." Nellie: "This is ridiculous. I want to see the manager now." Other helpful manager walks over. Manager: "Is everything all right here?" Nellie: "No, this food is terrible. Also, I only asked for 3 pieces of bread. Look what they gave me. They don't even listen." Manager: "I heard the order you gave the guys behind the counter. You did indeed ask for no sauce and 3 pieces of bread. What I see here is that your dish has no sauce and there are 3 pieces of bread. We always do our best to accommodate the requests of our customers, and I believe we've certainly done that today." Nellie, while gesturing with both arms at the food, and coworker and I: But this food is..." Manager: "I'm sorry, ma'am, this is what you ordered. There's nothing I can do." The look on Nellie's face after the manager spoke to her was priceless. She was in such disbelief. She couldn't believe someone told her she was stuck with what she ordered. She ended up force-feeding herself about half the food while mumbling under her breath about who knows what. While this was all going down, the waitress that served her, the barista, and the useful manager are just standing there watching this go down and smirking hard, trying not to laugh. The whole interaction lifted our spirits a little, and we got back to doing our thing, cleaning our sections. Nellie paid her bill and left without commenting on anything else. Finally, people are learning that words have consequences. What a time to be alive. And our second story. Old Asian man wants his $4 in quarters back. I work as a service technician for a company that services commercial and industrial appliances. Oftentimes, I'm working in laundromats, which brings a whole variety of characters, and typically not the good variety. A lot of squatters, junkies, trashy folk, etc. But this particular laundromat was actually a newer one and attracted a lot more middle-class normal people than most. The owners had an issue with their water quality, and it was destroying the water valves in their machines, so I was replacing all of the water valves and all of the washers, 20 machines total. It was about 3 p.m., which is normally a very busy time. So I shut down 4 or 5 machines, pop in my Bluetooth headphones, turn on some Judge Judy on YouTube while I'm working, and go at it. I get a machine or two in, and a small, older Asian man, let's call him OG for old guy, comes up to me, slapping his hand on the top of the washer to get my attention. Immediately, he lit my fuse. Now, I'm the type of person who has a long fuse. I'll always go out of my way to help anyone I can, and I can put up with a lot before I get angry. But I'm not a pushover. This man had a very strong stereotypical Asian accent, so I pop one of my headphones out and ask him if there's something he needs. OG, your machine took my 4 quarters and it won't work and I want my $4 back. Me, I'm sorry, can you repeat that? OG, I put my quarters in your machine and it didn't work and I had to use another machine. I need you to give me my quarters back. Me, okay sir, I'm sorry but I don't have access to the coin box on these machines. I can't give you any quarters. OG, so how am I supposed to get my money back? Can't you just give me my quarters back? Me, sir, I don't work here. I just come here to fix the machines. The owners call me and say their washer's broken. I come out and I fix it. I'll see if I can get a hold of the owner for you and see if he or his attendant's around for you. OG rolls his eyes and just stares at me. Seeing his aggravated social cue, I walk around the front of the machines and start to talk to him like he's a child or an elderly person. Me, do you see this? Pointing at the coin box on the machine. This is where your quarters go when you don't put them in the machine. You see the keyhole? I don't have that key. The owner is the only person that has that key. They're the only person that can give you your quarters back. Like I just told you. I'll call them and see if they can give you your quarters back. OG, okay, you call and get my money back. That last comment just plucked a nerve for some reason, so he walks out of the laundromat for about 20 minutes. While he's gone, I tried calling the owner on his cell phone and then sent him a text asking him to call me when he has a minute, and I go back to doing what I'm doing. He comes back in, sees me elbow deep, tearing a machine down, walks straight up to the machine I'm working on, slaps the front of the machine again and says, "You get me my money now." Me, sir, I tried calling the owner and haven't been able to get a hold of him. I sent him a text and he'll call me back as soon as he gets a chance. OG getting loud, so how do I get my money back? Why don't you just give me $4? Me, you can either wait here until he calls me back to see if he can come and help you, or pointing to sign on wall, you can call the number on that sign and they will help you. OG, just give me $4. This is my $4. Your machine's not working and take my money. Now I paid 2 times for 1 washer. Me, aggravated, are you slow? These are not my machines. I don't have access to the quarters. I can't help you even if I wanted to. Call the sign and they'll help you. I don't know what else to tell you. At this point, he's just looking at me and mumbling something. I can't tell what he's saying at all and don't care. I continue looking right back at him, put my earbuds back in, and go right back to what I'm doing. He leaves, I finish my job, and roll out. On the way home, I finally get a call back from the owner. I told him what happened, and he knew exactly who I was talking about. This guy's been kicked out multiple times and harasses any person working there whenever he sees someone working there who he hasn't seen before. Apparently, he's actually got away with it a lot of times, and the owner said he's probably got close to $100 from various attendants and workers by doing what he does. You should have told him that the owner was on his way and that he should wait outside until he gets there. Make him waste his time outside. If he comes back in to check how much longer, tell him that the owner's like 10 minutes away and have him waste more of his time. And our next story. HOA put a lien on my property. I live in an HOA that's very aggressive, and they hired a law firm with low ethics and engage in harassment against me relentlessly. I have 4 small claims cases against them, and that doesn't seem to help. They show up in court, lie, and commit perjury, below-belt attacks, and I end up losing. Once they even end up persuading an unknown judge to interfere in a trial I won, appealed, and trial judge ruled in their favor. They're out for blood and do not want to mediate and want me to sell my unit and move out of the community. To give you an idea what they did, following is the short list. Towed my car, filed restraining order against me and won, still in appeal, refusing to provide me with keys to the pool, another 10 items, use your imagination. So far, it's been a year of fighting, and their latest attack is HOA putting lien on my property. As usual, they didn't follow the law to file the lien appropriately, and their lien will not stand a test of law. I owe HOA $5,000, and that's the basis for their lien. Update. I wrote a detailed letter to the HOA and law firm describing that they didn't follow the law in obtaining a lien on my property, suggested they remove it immediately, or I would file an unlimited civil harassment lawsuit against the HOA and law firm. It worked. We later removed the board with a 50% vote of the community. And our last story. What part of extra onions don't you people understand? I used to work at a sandwich shop, and one night we had a customer order a sandwich, and she requested extra onions. So I put double the rings we normally use. She comes back in. I'm sorry, I wanted extra onions. So I remake her sandwich with a triple the amount we put on. She opens the sandwich and loses her crap. Seriously, what part of extra onions don't you people understand? She throws the sandwich on the counter. My shift leader comes back and tells me she wants more, apparently. Fed up with making her order several times over while we have other customers waiting on food, I walked into the cooler, found the largest onion we had, put it on the slicer, cut it completely, and placed the entire thing on her sandwich. It was so big I had to use 2 pieces of wax paper to wrap it before I sent it on its way. My shift leader picked the sandwich up and looked at me when she felt the weight. She knew what I did. I could see she was contemplating telling me to remake it, but she didn't and handed it to the customer. The customer took a look at it, mumbled something, then threw it in the bag and stomped off. Felt good. My shift leader just shook her head and grinned at me. Edit. This happened when I was a teenager working at Arby's. This is when you explain to the guest that they asked for extra onions, meaning twice the normal amount. They haven't paid for any more than that and are not entitled to any more than that. If they become rude or irate, then it simply becomes an issue of their ignorance and can be treated as such. Or give them the option to take their wallet out and pay accordingly. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.